Hey, this is Lame Duck here, just doing an awesome little thing on telemetry. As you can see on the dash right now, we have absolutely all the crazy squiggly lines that you expect. This is literally just tie temps at the moment. Did a practice session today, as you can see up here, 5:47 around Motorsport. So we can go to evolving pressures. This is my own personal little setup thing going on at the moment on Motec i2. You need to download Mu. Look it up in the forum. It's quite handy. It converts the data so you don't have to use Atlas, and there's heaps of little Motec project books like this here out already that you can look at tire temps, suspension settings, all that sort of thing. Like at the moment I've got suspension, I've got brake setup, acceleration, MGU. That I had a bit of help from Apex Racing for these things, a few of these things, but it all works. Driver controls, cornering, all that sort of thing, and yeah, just crazy to look at. As you can see here, you go down into the first corner, which is the right-hander, and as you can see, it loads up the left front. Left rear is not really getting that much of a workout; it's just chilling out, basically getting squatted down. And then all the cornering is coming on the right-hand tires here, but then you go down into the left-hander, and as you can see, it is just a lot of force in every wheel, pretty much. And the best thing about looking at Motec too, it's like I can look at tire temps right here, and there's this one here. It's a bit of a weird spike, so we'll just hover over it. And as you can see down in this section, we don't actually have any throttle on, but we're also clearing the brake. That there is at the top of the double rides. I think that's Moss Corner or something like that. That's literally as the tyre becomes unloaded when it hits the top of the peak, and as you can see there, inner sides get to lock up, and it's absolutely cooking that tyre. But then down the straight, everything just chills out quite nicely. The left front's still a bit warm because it's getting a fair workout heading onto the straight, but yeah, it's quite nice. You got the tyre pressures down here in kPa, so kilopascals, whatever you want to call them. I got my steering angle nice and easy to look at. I can see if I'm overworking a tyre if I have to. Um, got another lot of like little fancy dancy things like heat bands. I don't really use these sort of things very much, but I more or less look at the tyres, look at the pressures, especially for GT cars, those sort of things. But evolving temps is one of the things that you can definitely look at, and you can see if you're spiking tyre temps in the same spot each lap. So like down here we've got a random spike that'll be like a lock up or something like that. It will be quite aggressive to look at. So that's lap 12. We'll jump back to temps and have a look at that, and there we go. We got a massive spike in temperatures there. That's heading onto the back straight. I've got a little map on my other screen which is currently off to the left, so I can actually look at where this is on the track precisely. And you got another one up here. That's a big right front lock up into the first real right-hander. That's like the turn 3, I think it is, but that's like 120 degrees, so that's definitely doing some damage to the tyre. Wouldn't want to be doing that too often. We'll take a look at suspension settings at the moment. These are just all ride heights. You got the rear ride heights, front ride heights. The teal one, I believe the color is. I don't know. If you know it, please comment and let me know. But 702 ride height at the front. That is actually the splitted height right there. So the actual ride heights are quite considerably above that, but the splitter height. This is originally made for a Lotus, I think it was, the project book that I based it off. So I believe that that'll be whereabouts the front wing is on that car. So that's quite low. Like over here, you're on 3 centimeters of thing, and even 1.9. So that's probably extremely low. That's bottoming out almost. But you got a lot of other things. You got G forces, all that sort of thing. You can look at your ride heights, team it up with what your throttle position's doing, what your braking's doing. So we look at right there, I'm jamming on the brakes, and as you can see, the front right heights are all going down, but also I'm turning, so the front left is actually like dipping and compressing, while the front right is actually getting further up in the air, which means I'm obviously turning right. I know physics. Well, yeah, you got a lot of other little squiggly lines. Front rocking is something to definitely look at if you're in underpowered cars, such as like the MX-5, those sort of things. But the ones that actually have suspension changes that are possible, like the Mustang, this is all about like how much rocking backwards and forth there is on the straight. You've got the rake up here, which I'll show a bit more detail later on. You've got steering angle, what your any roll bars are, those sort of things. It's quite insane to see how much these cars actually wobble side to side down the straights. So yeah, like we'll just keep on plodding along. So that's how your suspension dampers are going. You're all looking at that and going, oh my god, how does he understand it? I don't understand it. I go to this one here. In a perfect world, pyramid. They should almost make a perfect triangular pyramid thingy. But ones on the outside here, for those people trying to learn Motec, these ones here are both high speeds, middle, all low speeds, and as you can see, you got bumper this side, rebound this side. So best logic I've got right now is this always doesn't work, but when it does, it's quite helpful. I usually tune the car purely by feel until a certain point where I can't get it to go any better. So I start going into what is the car actually doing, where does it need help, that sort of thing. You can slide it down, so like there we go, that's pretty much the whole last sector, which you can see it's visually different from the whole actual lap, which is like that. But as you can see, this one here at least, it's like this edge here, which is the low speed rebound, is actually lower than the low speed bump, so you'd actually raise the settings on that. I can't confirm that this works on all cars. It's worked on the both McLarens, GT cars, V8, everything like that. So I'm not too sure that it will work on certain cars, but it's always worth a try. If you increase something by like 3 or 4 clicks, you'll definitely see a massive difference in either direction. So you just work off that. There's no real miracle numbers. You just try and make sure that all sides are throwing the weight around quite evenly. You got evolving ride height, so you can actually see whether or not the car's going up. You can also see the rake down here, which is horrible to read at the moment, but I've got a whole page set up for that. I can see the rake of the car. You can see it where it hits bumps awkwardly, like that there's going up over the Moss corners, so the car is just bumping and jumping everywhere. Down the straight, it's like we're pretty much running this car flat at the moment. This is our Premier Series set from last year. It's pretty balanced, but it's a heap of junk. It's not the fastest thing in the world, so we're trying to work that out. But through here, you can see that the front, the whole way through that last couple of corners, is all just absolutely down. Get on the power, and then it's back down again. It's quite incredible to see how much the ride height changes. I think it's at Spa at the end of the Kemmel Straight. The rear end of the car on a GT car will lower itself about 2-3 centimeters. It's quite incredible, and that's even with like negative wing on it and stuff like that. Like you can visually see here where the ride height just slowly goes up at the front, which or less rake on it. So it's the rear's squatting or the front's getting higher. So it's quite crazy to see, and as you're hitting more and more bumps, it gets more and more aggressive. The porpoising, mad little thing over here. It's not set up properly, but it does its job. And yeah, it's crazy to see how much these cars bump around during the straights and stuff like that. You can look at track rake, as you can see, awesome track map that you can't actually see at all. But here you go. It shows you how much rake there is in certain parts of the track, and you got the color coding to show you how much rake there is. If it's in the negatives, it means the front's going downwards, and if it goes red, it means that the front's massively high in the air. So we've got orange at the moment, so it's it's sort of a bit too high, but it's one of those things you just play around with. It's always good to have a car with a fair bit of rake, but around tracks like this, it's like the car's pretty much limited to how fast it can go down the back straight, so you've got to just maximise it for the corners. And could be that this car is just too flat, and that might be why it handled a bit roughly last year, but we'll work it out. And just a few empty things there. in other cars they actually pop up. Got acceleration here, like feel free to sign up to the Apex forums and talk to them about, you know, how to do this and all that sort of thing. All I can say is just download Motec i2 Pro, and it's free download. Download Mu, research how to do telemetry logging, all that sort of thing. Jump on iRacing, turn a few laps. You can see crazy things like this, and right there you can actually see my sorry, just moving awkwardly in the sim right now. You can actually see the revs there. So there we go, topped out at about 7489. Nice little thing. 7.6 on a downshift, so that's quite awkward. Don't want to do that too many times. You actually do damage the motor, like it's quite detrimental to the motor. We got wheel spin here, so you know when it's in the positives that there's a bit of wheel spin. It's 20k an hour wheel spin at the rear of the car that's heading onto the back straight. These are things like where you can actually look at yourself and look at your own driving. Like there it is zoomed in. That's over about 40 meters. I could have just stretched out the throttle a little bit more and not got the wheel spin, got a bit of better drive onto the back straight. But sadly didn't do that. And on these bits that go down, that is lockups. I've got a whole other little sheet thing going over there. We got it set up for front wheel drive, so you can actually see the wheel spin when it goes over the certain percentage. That means the tyre's definitely way overloaded, and you can see on the track map exactly where you're getting shots of wheel spin. Anything in the red is bad. quite simply. You know, there's always a bit of fun having a bit of wheel spin, but it does damage the tyres and overheat them a fair bit, so it's definitely best to look after that. Got oil temps, water temps, all that sort of thing. Going into braking, anything that dips down dramatically is a lockup. This track is awfully hard on braking. That's pretty much all I can say. It's like you go through most of the braking areas with the car pretty much full load on the rear end, and then you know one tyre in the air, and it's extremely hard to drive when it's not like that. So it's a bit difficult, but as you can see, it's like they're all color coded. So I've got the front right there getting a lock up, and once again the front right just absolutely getting destroyed. Front left getting destroyed, and then pretty much all four wheels as we head into the as we head off the back straight there. That's there's a little ripple, and it's just locking up all four wheels almost. So need to sort that out with dampers and stuff like that, and make sure the camber's not too much, so like it isn't just grabbing like just the edge of the tire at the last second. You can look at here, and you've got brake pressure and like how your balance is going tire to tire sort of thing. You got ABS, shows you how much pressure's going into the lines. Basically this is good for like GT drivers and stuff like that. You can look and see if you turn like the ABS down, if you actually get better braking, those sort of things. Cornering, nothing really in here, just shows you anything that pops up in this here is actually just coasting and shows you how long you coasted for. So right there I coasted for 48 feet, so nothing too strange about that. Shows you how much steering wheel torque you've got, steering wheel angle. It's best to try and keep the wheel as straight as possible. It just makes sure that the weight isn't getting thrown around too dramatically, anything like that. But here we go. I'll just load up another log file. It's pretty easy to do this. Sorry, I've already got a log file open, so we'll just overlay it with a lap time that's literally a second slower, and look at the variance. The white bar up here is comparing it to my fast lap, which was 17.4 I think, and it's an 18.4 that we're looking at. So here we go, like you go through turn one, tyres weren't all that warm, so it's like I struggled in braking. I got a bit of mid-corner speed, only about 2k's an hour, but then because the tyres were warming up I lost like a k an hour down that whole next straight. I think it's a Watkins Glen. It's like a k an hour literally equals about a second of track time, so it's quite crazy around a circuit. 5k's an hour, better into braking at turn 2 though, just being a bit more aggressive on the colder tyres, and then I lost it all on the apex, and you know, I put my foot down, held on, prayed that the tyres were going to hold on that opening lap. But once again, absolutely killed it out of the corner. With the warmer tyres, you can definitely see that there's like 20 odd k's of straight line speed better down that next little straight, and that's literally all just down to traction out of the corner and just making sure I was in the right position. Like I had to dab the brake down here, as you can see. I had to dab the brake and was easier on the throttle. But then up here, I got a massive run through the turn 3, the right hander, and gained like 10 k's an hour around the corner. But then through the whole next section, because I washed out a little bit on the exit of the corner for that whole next section, all the way down the hill, heading up towards the Moss Corners, I was losing so much speed again. I went through the Moss Corners absolutely nicely. The car wasn't all that balanced up through there, and we got that lock up as we saw before on the other page. Got a lock up. You come up here, I gained speed, and then traction out of there. Just absolutely, warm tyres absolutely kills you. Chilling out down the straight, I'd say, if we average that out, I'm about 6 k's an hour down on the on the straight, but then as drag comes into play, we almost balance up, right at the end of the straight before we head into braking. Once again, absolutely brake on the limit. Got through there nicely, didn't get a run out, got into the next corner nicely, didn't get a run out. It's just a crazy cycle. And then the last corner, I was about 15 k's an hour, as we can see up over here, at 16 k's an hour. Slower out of it due to due to a bit of wheel spin. As you can see, running the same brake pressure, I had to have more steering angle in the second lap, in the slower lap, so the cold tyre lap. And that just literally means that the tyres went up to temp. I was just understeering on the exit, and it's just killing the car speed. Like we look right here, we'll just zoom in, have a look just before the braking starts, before the throttle goes off. Right there's a whole k an hour difference down the end of the straight. It's like, that doesn't sound like much, but like that's pretty crazy, because right at the end of like the straights and stuff like that, the drag comes into play and it all becomes, and the cars should pretty much balance out. But like still being a k an hour down, it's like that means one, you're not getting a run on someone else. For like, even if you were in the draft, it's like you still got to make that extra bit of speed before you can actually make a move. But it also means that the car's having to work so much harder. It can burn a bit more fuel, stuff like that. We got track variance as well. Like it'll, when I double click it, there we go. It's the same overlay. It just shows you exactly where you're losing speed. So it's out of the corners, gaining in, losing out. No, there was no real chassis changes or anything. So it's just all down to the car. As you can see there, it's like the further along the straight you get, the more the speed balanced out, and then into braking, gain time, lose it on the way out. Once again, it's just another little thing. I've got the one-stop shop up here. It's just literally all the bits and pieces that you need. Sector times, you can look at literally the macro sectors, and this is all termed up. Turn 4, which is the left-hander down the hill heading into the Moss Corners, the double rights, head just before the back straight. That's turn 4 right there. On my slower lap, I was actually 0.068 slower down that hill, but that's not all that bad. Like, it shows you where I'm losing a bit of time. But as you can see, like, there's a few places there where I actually shockingly go faster. Like turn 3, I'm only a tiny bit faster, but you can look at literally like every sector on the track and really get down into details of what's going on. It'd be scary doing this at the Nordschleife, but it's one of those things. It's definitely going to be fun at Spa and Bathurst and that sort of thing, to go into massive amounts of detail. And just the better you prep, the better everything goes. You don't need quite as much luck, but luck still plays a little bit of it. Got fuel level changes, those sort of things. They're all in like pounds and US gallons, except for that one there, thank goodness. But this is just cool, because you can see exactly how much your average throttle around here is. Like, on my fastest lap, I'm 59% of the time on at full throttle, so that's quite impressive. I have no idea what that one's for, but let's carry on. You got your pit requests, or like if you change things during a run, and it'll keep track your wind direction. So as you can see there, the wind was in a slightly different spot at a slightly different speed during my run, and you can see like how high and how low it goes. Like it's quite crazy the amount of detail that iRacing pumps out to us and everything like that. So yeah, definitely get it. If you guys have any questions, definitely send me a message. Always happy to help you guys out, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Thank you.